Hey, this is Nomar Slevik, host of the I Want to Believe podcast, and you're listening to the Ghosts in the Valley podcast.
Okay, today I have Haley Staack on the show. She is a psychic medium and a paranormal investigator. Haley has also been collecting haunted material for the past 2 years, and she is a co-founder of the Appalachian Seance Society. She is seeking to help others learn and grow in their craft and the paranormal. Welcome to the show, Haley.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I'm just going to start out with what got you interested into the paranormal to begin with.
So that is actually an interesting story because it kind of came to me. I didn't go to it. And I was a hairstylist for 8 years and working in a salon, and a local paranormal team had asked or like posted that they were doing some public investigations, and some of my clients tagged me in it. And I was like, I've always watched like paranormal TV. I'll go check this out. And it was a wonderful experience, but that night I also had a spirit try to channel through me, and I didn't know what was happening. And thankful to that team, they were able to help me through that. And I learned quickly I can talk to the dead. So it was interesting.
And I see, since you're a psychic medium, how does this help you in your investigations?
It helps me personally just by being able to actually connect with the spirit a little bit more, to understand them a little bit better, like where they're coming from. That's if the spirits obviously want to talk and allow that to happen.
During an investigation, it's like fishing, sometimes you get responses and sometimes you don't.
Yeah,
And, it's also they pick and choose who they want to connect with.
that I have found it's hard sometimes. That was a lot for me in the beginning because I'm like, well, why can I connect to some and not others? But I learned quickly it's not meant for me to talk to them, and that's okay.
Right. I was in a building one time and there was like maybe 3 investigation teams, and everybody had different parts, different pieces of equipment, and the grids on the wall, and you name it, they
Yeah.
had it. But the spirit decided to contact a woman sitting in the back of the room who wasn't really on any team, and she was just, Hispanic. So, and
Mhm.
the spirit related to her.
That's awesome. So
hmm
she knew who to reach out to and who could communicate better with her.
Right. If you had all these trigger items and trying everything
Yeah.
you that you have in your possession to contact the spirit, and it was having no part of it.
Even some of the like pieces I collect, some of the spirits will talk to some people, and sometimes they're like, I'm not talking to them today and you can't make me. And I'm like, you're right, I can't. So
All right. So how many are on your paranormal team?
I investigate with my best friend currently, and we are fortunate enough that a paranormal team I was on previously, we go with them sometimes, the Southern Research Society, SRS Paranormal. But usually Megan and I just investigate and tag along with people who need extra, to cover the cost of places.
So you and Megan are the Appalachian Seance Society?
Yes, yes. We have a board starting. We have a few more members. It's very fresh, but we have started this just to get people to come in and be able to learn and grow together, and kind of not a hierarchy or I'm better than you. Everyone's just there to learn together.
And how long have you been investigating?
I've been investigating for about 3 or 4 years now.
Oh, cool. Okay. And how far out do you go? I mean, from your location?
I've traveled up as far as New England, and we go, I mean, wherever the ghost want us is what we joke. We go where they tell us. We're actually going out to California this year to stay at our friend's haunted Airbnb and then work an event with them. So as far as we Wherever, whenever. I joke I'm retired, so I can travel a lot more now.
Now, do you prefer commercial or residential? Does it matter?
I prefer residential. I like the big haunts are cool, but I mean, obviously, but I love residential because I like helping people and teaching them what they're living with and that it can be coexistent or obviously sometimes not.
Right. I always preferred, the little places,
Mhm.
off the beaten path, so to speak, because everybody does like Lizzie Borden and,
Yep.
it's like overdone, to me, it's the same, all these podcasts I listen to, and I listen to quite a few. It's just to me, I like last year I went to a house to do an interview, and
Mhm.
it wasn't to investigate. It was just, he wanted me to come to his house because his house was haunted and he felt comfortable with me going there. He was
Yep.
like 60 miles away. So I drove there and oh my God, it was like uh, off the chart.
Yeah.
It was super, the energy was overwhelming. And
Yes.
that's what I like. I mean, everybody talks about their favorite piece of equipment they like to use. And
Yes.
I prefer, I've always said, my body is my biggest tool, you
I'm
know.
the biggest advocate for that with you. I like you said, I love the tools. Megan that I work with, she's also very intuitive and can connect like medium abilities. She just loves the tech part. Like that's one of her favorites. And she's so smart with it and learns each piece. And so we joke that when we investigate, she'll bring the tech stuff ready to go. And it's fun because I prefer like Victorian methods or just trusting myself. And we love seeing how they will cross and like show that each other is correct.
Sometimes I say that, I get people say, you're dogging out the, I'm not dogging out the equipment.
Yep.
I think it's very useful. I just happen to myself, I kind of almost
Mhm.
sense if there's something there or not, because I'm not one to go in and just call out any spirit
Yep.
because, that can be dangerous and you
Yes.
might grab a hold of something you don't want to grab a hold of.
We are very big, like with when we investigate on ethical investigating, because yeah, there are ones you don't call out to. And I've heard experiences from people in the field that I'm like, that does not sound fun to me. I don't think I want to do that.
I see also you like to, use science in your investigations. Would that be part of that, the tools you use, or how does that work?
Yes, usually the tools, she has found a few pieces that we use. Of course, we both love Spirit Box, but that comes. I'm the more skeptical of like that's
Hmm.
still radio. Are we sure? But I also love it. Like obviously, stuff's coming through that adding up with everything else. But yeah, she. I'm trying to think what she uses. It's from Ghost Stop. It lights up red and green, and that
Oh,
one has
okay. Yeah,
proven to
yeah.
be really well with
Uh,
the EMF reading.
hmm. Yeah, my mind's blank
Like I
right
said,
now.
she knows more of the technical terms. I'm sitting there going, uh-huh.
The Appalachian Seance Society, I take
Mhm.
it you do seances?
Yes, it's really cool when you become a member of it. You actually get to attend 4 seances a year as part of becoming a member, and they are led by Dr. Rhonda Caudill, and she will be holding them at the Nickerson Sneed House, which is very haunted.
Right. I've only been on a one seance in my life,
Mhm.
you know, and I know the importance from that one I went to was making sure that you close down that portal at the end of the session,
Yes. Oh, yes.
because kind of like the Ouija board, you don't want to like leave that
Mhm.
portal open,
Ex-
and there's so many amateur people out there, amateur investigators and people that don't know what they're doing, and they come up across a lot of problems, by not doing the right thing because they
We've
don't know
run
what they're
into
doing.
and met people that have done that, open stuff up in their homes, just wanting to do it because they saw it on TV, and we're like, we know it's fun, but there's also a side to this that is not so fun.
I want to bring up the owl story you shared. I don't think it was a day or two ago on Facebook about
Yeah.
a dead owl you came across.
Mhm. Yes, I believe in signs. I'm an earth witch, so I get my messages from spirit that way.
Mhm.
And well, I found an owl in the road, and owls are important in my work. So I need to respect them. And so went and collected it with the neighbors, and we buried it.
Yeah, and what's weird, why I brought that up was because at the same time I'm doing some research on you and trying to get some background on you and going through social media and digging through all that, and I came across the tattoo you have on your arm of the owl,
Mhm.
and I said I really like that, and at the same time your owl story popped up,
Oh,
and
wow.
I don't believe in coincidences, and
Right. I don't either.
and you're talking about being an earth witch. I totally relate with you on because I came across an old Indian reservation years ago when I was a child. And I remember the Indian. I was sitting on the front porch with him,
Mhm.
and my parents were inside some trinket shop shopping, and I just stopped and sat outside and talked to this old Indian sitting out on the porch, and he was going through like I asked, how do you come up with your names like running deer or running water?
Yeah.
And he says, well, about the first thing they see when a woman's giving birth. And I says, and he says, and the most sacred are the owls and the eagle, you know. And I knew the eagle. I didn't know about the owl, So I did a little bit of research on that, and how the eagle, or excuse me, how the owl is known for in different Indian Native American cultures as faith, wisdom, leadership,
Mhm.
and death and destruction when provoked, And that's so how true is that?
Oh, yes. The owls, I like you have done some research because I was watching a show that happened to be about a reservation, and it was a wonderful show, but they always blocked the owl's eyes out in the episodes. And I was like, I wonder why they do that. Because they would hang them around the house,
Hmm.
like um, figurines of the owls. But anytime they would show the house, they would block out all the eyes. And turns out with that reservation, like out in Oklahoma or that tribe, you don't look owls in the eye or it's a bad omen.
Hmm.
So
Right.
it was kind of like a humorous thing that they added into the show. They even blocked him out in the show. So I thought that was super interesting.
Oh yeah, and the same thing goes true with crows, how smart a crow is, that's another thing, So I'm just I just love stories about Native American Indians, and I was getting back to the house that I went to last year was
Mhm.
extremely
Yeah,
haunted.
right.
My thought was because they moved the house to a different location in the real early late 1700s, early 1800s.
Oh, wow.
And they set the house down. My thinking is they set it down on Indian burial grounds
Oh, yeah.
because when he did his garden, when he dug his garden up, he came up with bones and artifacts of Native American Indian.
Oh, yeah.
So if I had some different guests on my show, and I told this story before, and their thought was, well, just whatever you come up with, put it back in the ground. You know,
Mhm.
it may curb some of the activity in his house.
Mhm. So I asked when we moved here to our property in Tennessee, actually, I was like, very respectful of the land. And I was like, in case there were any native ties, like, what can I do it just in case? So they know that I will honor it and take care of it. And something did through my research was planting native plants is kind of like an offering to them of peace to the spirits there.
Hmm.
So I've always
Right.
thought that was interesting, like kind of using what they would use and respectfully planting it can help kind of bring that activity down.
Right. You don't even like in the Lakota tribe, they believe that like everything has a spirit, like, water. Uh,
Yes, yes.
so you want to honor that spirit, especially earth, so earth should not be tampered with unless it's,
Mhm.
you just don't level a cemetery to put a parking garage in, you know,
I'm with you on that. I'm very picky about the dead and very cautious of their resting place.
and even that's why I say a lot of these churches that have graveyards outside their church, and their prominent members can be buried on that church property. And
Oh,
I've,
yes.
during my research over the past few years, I've found that a lot of these churches, if you have the money and you're the power in that church, you're
Mhm.
put in a spot where they want to be put, which means you're going to
Mhm.
be put on top of Joe Henry, whatever.
Yeah.
And then you wonder why there's so much activity in these churches.
With like where we live, like part of the Appalachian work, and like if you're an Appalachian magic practitioner, like we work with the dead a lot in cemeteries, and I, spend some time in them working with the spirits there. And I don't know, you got to be careful stepping on and over. And maybe I'm just superstitious, but I take those
No,
menacing spots serious.
oh, I do too. I don't want to step on other person's spot where they're, it's hard, but if a cemetery's packed,
Yeah, and I'm always like, sorry if I
Right, right.
accidentally do talking to them.
Yeah, my wife thinks I'm crazy because when I go into see my visit my mom at the crypt, I
Yes.
walk into the building like, hello, hi guys, how you doing? Yeah,
Yeah.
who are you talking to? I always say hello and always say goodbye. I don't know why.
That's what I do with the spirits at the house. My husband is actually a non-believer. And so with all my objects in the house, I'll be talking to him out loud or greet them when I come home. And he just looks at me and I'm like, one day you'll believe me.
Yeah, doing the research on you, I seen that you're also a gifted photographer.
Thank you. I've
Oh,
it's been
and
a
the reason I
hobby
say
for
that,
years.
reason I say that because I worked in videography for about 20 years, so I have my own
Oh,
company,
that's awesome.
my own production company. So, weddings like weddings and bar mitzvahs, whatever comes up,
Yeah.
and so I was going through some of your photos you took. Oh my God, I love the one with the woman blowing the smoke in the air.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
I don't know why that
Yeah.
mesmerizes me so much.
That was a random. We were out doing photos of her and her boyfriend, and they both had those is it like a vape pen or something? And they were doing that, and she did this smoke, and I'm like, it's so foggy. We were up in Roan Mountain, and I was like, can you do that one more time? I think I have an idea. And that was just a random shot.
Well, anyway, I just like that girl with the smile. I figured it was a vape pen or something, but
Yes.
it was just like it's going to the universe. Yeah.
That whole place is a spiritual place anyway. But yeah, Roan Mountain's awesome.
I just love like unique things, different things. I think it's what made me my wife get along so well is because we like, I hate to say weird stuff, but just like, my mother always said when she would come visit,
Yeah.
why do you have a dead tree on a picture in your living room? It's like, Mom, don't you see it's a perfect, there's no leaves on it, but it's a perfect tree. The way
Yes.
the branches go out and into the orange sunset. I thought, man, what a perfect tree. And it's like, it's dead. They just
I
didn't get
love
it.
when people can find beauty in the dead things because I think that is also just a beautiful part of life. Is it is part of it, and we can accept it or not. So find the beauty.
Right. And
There's my philosophical thing for you.
oh, yeah. There was a quote you did, I think is on, I don't know. I was going through all your sites. I believe you posted this and it just struck my attention as well. Being less reactive is a huge part of growth and decreasing stress. If you let everything get you worked up, you're damaging your mind, body, and spirit.
I found it somewhere online and shared it. Yes, because
Man, how true is
that's,
that?
I have learned that lesson the last year or so. And let me tell you that it really resonates lately. And
Yeah, I couldn't tell you how many friends and family members I lost during the election and the political crap,
yeah.
and I just, and I'm part to blame for that. Why do you let your stress and your anger get in the way of
Mhm.
your longtime friendship with somebody? Or, where have we turned to where we're so hateful now,
I
towards each
agree
other?
so much about that because well, like you said, I used to be that person. I'm not proud of it. I used to post stuff looking for a nice little fight because
And you're
I
going to
was
get it if you post it.
unhappy. Yeah. And let me tell you that people love sharing their opinion. So if you put it out there, expect to get everyone else's. And I used to love it. And I think it's firmly because I just wasn't secure in my own beliefs at the time. And therefore had to scream trying to get everyone else to believe it when I've learned, you know what, we are all different and that's okay. And
Mhm.
doing hair, I think really helped me with that because I had so many different clients that would sit in my chair and I would see them post stuff and be like, we do not agree. But then when you talk to them in the chair, I'm like, we actually agree way more than you think we do.
Right, right, right. And I always said hairdressers are like bartenders. You, everybody comes in with their problems, and I'm sure you
Yes.
heard it all. You know.
Oh, yes. Which was interesting because when I mean, I would never understand why I was drained from people or why I would know stuff about people long before I realized what I can do or that I'm a medium. And it would be so funny because you just sit there and you hear everyone's stories and you're like, man, and it's just interesting. Love that job.
Right. Well, my sister-in-law, she's a hairdresser. I mean, my wife's cousin's a hairdresser. I mean, it's all around me.
Yeah,
So you're right.
you know the good stories about town.
Well, what my wife, they share with me.
I agree because sometimes we have to take it to the grave. I got some stuff
Uh-huh.
can't tell.
This is between you and me.
Yes.
But everybody knows you better not tell me because it's not a secret for long. Maybe that's why they don't tell me nothing.
I always say if I know, Megan probably knows. Unless you clarify, don't tell anyone. Megan and my husband will know.
What are your thoughts on the shadow people?
Shadow people.
Do you consider that negative energy?
Not always. No, I don't think they're all negative. That's from personal experience. I've got one that is in my house and he walks by sometimes and he's just one of the objects, but he's not malicious. So I don't think they all are, but I know there are some very negative ones. I just haven't experienced any of those yet.
I never thought so, but I've had some guests that say it's negative. So, to each their own. I mean, whatever
Mhm.
you believe, I've never seen. I mean, I've seen apparitions from a ghost when I growing up, and my book coming out is on that house, haunted house I grew up in.
Yes, I'm so
Uh,
excited for that to come out.
and living in and outside that house. So much. I didn't stop with just a house. I went on. My
Mhm.
wife says, "Did all this shit really happen to you?" I'm like,
Yeah.
unfortunately, yes. It's unbelievable. And now, does your husband see the shadow figure as well, or no?
He has not seen the shadow figure. He's heard some voices before that were not there was nothing. I He's heard those. He still doesn't though. He's like, I think you were just talking and don't remember. And he's heard a few of the knocks because they have their own certain sound, one of them. So when that knock happens, he just looks at me.
I've seen also you use a witching guide while doing certain investigations. How does this help you?
Oh yes. Sharice Williams' book. Yes, it is a wonderful one because you can incorporate the witchcraft as in it's just energetic work. So it's more, I will bring like certain herbs for protection for me, or I actually have some herbs. If I'm not getting good communication, I'll carry like balm of Gilead with me because it's known to summon spirits with the smell. So like I'll bring stuff like that in. So you can incorporate witchcraft that way, and I'll like light a protection candle while we investigate.
Because you're a psychic medium, I've had a lot
Mhm.
on the show that said they don't like knowing the history of the house or the person when they go into an investigation, so they have a clear slate.
Mhm.
Others say they do. What's your preference?
I'd rather walk in not knowing, see what I get first, and then get the history.
Hmm.
See what matches up to see if I'm on track, if I'm connecting well or not with the location, and then go from there.
Do you find that being a psychic helps you, or is it a blessing or a curse, or a little both?
Um, I like to say a little of both. I mean, I'm not going to say I hate it. I do enjoy it. It's just more of when they, show up at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., like knocking my legs, and I'm like, I'd like to sleep. So can we do this another time? But it's also a blessing because like helping people connect and being able to help spirits as well. I mean, that's important to me just as much as helping the living as if the spirit just is trying to get their story across. But I do think it helps going into a place, having that gift to be able to connect a little more and know what happened there and pick up on it was bad energy or just someone hanging out because they like it here, different things.
Do you practice Reiki?
I have started it. I haven't finished the full program, but I've done like through Reiki 1 and I apply the basics of it a lot. I actually do Reiki for dogs
Okay, 'cause I
I
went to my
helped her rescue.
I went to my first one a couple of years ago, and I really enjoyed myself.
Mhm.
And it's locally near me. A lady puts up a tent. Oh, actually, the Indians come in. They put the tent up in the spring, and they take it down in the fall,
Oh,
and
that's amazing.
it's so cool. Because she also has a rescue animal farm. It's called the White Barn Healing Tent.
Oh,
It's
I
so
love it.
it's so cool that she helps out the animals that are going to put to death, like in the Amish community or wherever, and she lets these animals live out their rest of their life on their farm,
Mhm.
and then she also does the Reiki in the tent. You know.
Yes, that's amazing. I like that. The lady I help, she is one of my clients that I did hair for, and she runs a rescue. And I'll go over sometimes, and she'll ask me, she'll like, "Hey, I've got a dog. Can you come check him out?" And I'm like, "Yeah, let me see." So, like one day, one was having some problems, and I was like, "Don't tell me his medical problems yet. Like, I know you know what's going on, but let me see if I
Hmm.
can, figure out where he's bothering him really." And sure enough, his chest was radiating, and she told me he had heart problems and everything, and his poor little kidneys, you could just feel it. Like
Hmm.
people say they feel it different energy. I feel it like a cool sensation, whereas other people I've heard feel it warm,
Hmm.
but I feel more of a cool sensation. It'll push off of them. And poor guy, he had kidney failure and heart disease, and unfortunately, we could ease the pain a little, but he was kind of past a lot of hope.
Yeah. Do you believe in life after death?
I do.
Oh, and you can move a spirit on?
I don't and haven't yet. I'm not sure how I feel on that yet. I've got mixed feelings.
Yeah, I am. So I'm with you on that. Like move it on to what? Are you moving it on to heaven, hell, or to another realm?
So, well, here's my thought too. Like, so I have this one spirit attached to one of the dolls that I have, and I ask him, like, "Hey, do you want to cross over?" And he's like, "No, no, no." And I'm like, "Okay." So finally, I'm like, "Talk to me a little. Like, what are you afraid of, or what's wrong?" And he's scared to move over because he doesn't know what's over there. And
Hmm.
he said, whatever I did in life, I don't know if it's going to be good for me. And so my thought was, I'm not going to shove you into something you don't want to do. That takes away your choice. And I don't know. I think that can be wishy-washy. And if they wanted to, I think it's cool if you want to help them and they're asking you. But then I wonder, are they supposed to be here? And it's not our purpose to do that. I don't know.
Right. That's yeah. That's a loaded question, isn't it?
It
Uh,
is, but I mean, I don't think it's wrong to help them, but I also try to respect their choice in that. I really do.
okay. So, what's your plans for 2024?
2024 so far this year, we are doing a few events. We've got one next weekend, and we'll be heading out to California to do an event, and we'll be doing what's the one in Michigan? My Paracon, I believe. We'll be going
I
up to that one. The
um.
Michigan Paracon. I think
Hmm.
it's My Paracon. Yes. So we're hoping to go up there, see some UFOs.
Right. Right. I'm hoping to go to the Mothman convention this year in West Virginia.
How close are you in Ohio to where they have like I've investigated a bunch of places up there. The
Mansfield
castle.
Reformatory. I have a Mans.
I've been to Mansfield, but then there's also it's a ways away from that, more south, I believe. It's on the tip of my tongue. Oh my gosh, they just added the church to it. Then there's the castle, the
Oh, Cass.
no, not
Oh,
Bell Mansion, not that mansion. It's literally on the tip of my tongue, and when we say it, we'll both be like, "Yeah."
right. 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 And I live in Ohio.
Randolph County Infirmary.
We're all right. Hmm.
We've done a few of those up there.
I've
That's
been by there. I haven't been there yet.
okay, cool, cool. We're hoping to get back up that way too. They've got a whole bunch of good places there. We're hoping to get back up that way too. They've got a whole bunch of good places there.
I want to thank you for coming on and any links that you can say that people can go to check you out.
Just Instagram is Haley's Haunts and Oddities and Appalachian Seance Society on Facebook. And Megan's the Spirit Sleuth if you want to follow her too.
All righty. And maybe you can send me those links, and I will put them in the bottom of this episode.
Yes.
And I appreciate you coming on and sharing your stories and time with me.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, and thank you for sharing your stories as well.
Thank you, Haley. It's been my pleasure having you on the show. And please check out Haley's links at the bottom of this episode. This finishes part 1 of my conversation with Haley Staack. We were having some technical difficulties, so there's going to be a part 2. And that will be in 2 weeks. And you don't want to miss that one. We talk about her haunted dolls, her haunted Ouija board, and plus much more in 2 weeks. This is Al Cooley on Ghosts in the Valley podcast.